Okay, so the 49ers have not announced their starting quarterback yet for this week. So here's how Brock Purdy and Mac Jones stack up in 2025. All right, their numbers are pretty similar headed into week 7, despite Jones being sacked twice as often in the 4 starts as Purdy was in his 2. Jones already with his most wins as a starter since 2022, when, of course, he was with the Patriots. Okay. Dan, you called this Falcons game on Monday night. How do you think the Niners should try to attack their defense?
Yeah, do not allow Atlanta defensively to play the style, the way that they want. This is a defense that really is built on speed. It's predicated on their athletes getting in or on the field in pass situations and on all those crazy pressures and whatnot. If I'm San Francisco, I'm doing what Buffalo didn't do and should have done. I'm getting into bigger bodies, and I'm running the football at you. I'm going to sometimes put 2 backs and 2 tight ends on the field and run a little bit of our outside zone. Sometimes I'll get 2 backs and 2 tight ends in the field and run power right at Atlanta defensively. And then I'm going to try to not allow that speed to get up the field and get the ball out on the perimeter. If they just sit back, San Francisco offensively, and think that they're going to throw against this defense, I think it's too fast and too athletic right now. This is a team that has pass rushers defensively in the interior, on the edges, and at the linebacker position. You got to kind of drag them to deep water, play smash mouth football, and make those athletes earn the right to be pass rushers.
That was kind of a coming out party nationally for that defense. Not sure everybody realized just how good they are. Let's go to the other side. So sad, Fred Warner out for the season. So when you look at that Falcons offense, how do you expect them to game plan given that?
I think they'll lean into a lot of the things they already do, some of the things that Tampa did when Fred Warner went out. One is just using motion to force the back end of that defense to communicate. Tampa, I talked about this, cranked up their use of motion. Atlanta uses motion already at the snap, specifically at the highest rate in football. They use it both in the run and the pass, and I think San Francisco is going to struggle with that in their zone defense. And then something I would like to see that's a little bit different, but something we saw against Buffalo, Michael Penix Jr. throwing over the middle of the field. You know, going into that game against the Bills, he threw over the middle of the field, meaning between the numbers, just 50% of the time, which is the lowest rate of any quarterback in football. But against the Bills, recognizing that was a weakness, cranked that up to 62.5%, which is much more in line with the average. Love to see that against San Francisco again this week. In-breakers to Drake London remain my favorite thing that this Atlanta does outside of Bijan Robinson, and I would think they'll be very successful if they lean into that against San Francisco without Fred Warner.
Going forward, Chris, I'd like to draw straws on who gets to go last, because going last on this show sucks tremendously. Like, by the time you get to go, you don't even have no point. They're going to be like, oh, Dan and Mina already said that, so you just saying what they say. But I agree with Mina. What I did love about last week's game was the connection between Michael Penix Jr. and Drake London inside the numbers, or necessarily in between the numbers and the hash. And when you don't have a guy like a Fred Warner, who's such a great dropper, who plays so instinctively, you have to attack that. But that all starts with Bijan Robinson as well. Dan did a great job weeks ago talking about how they need, or how they can utilize the pistol formation and not be under center and get to play action pass. And I know he might have got a call or something or another. I was down there this weekend. But I mean, when you look at what they've been able to do, or what's happened going forward, they need to attack this game the same way they did against the Buffalo Bills.
It was a good call. It was a good phone call. You know, it was a good phone call. We were able to have a mature
another call with this pick, though.
Yeah.
This is what I don't get. You called the Falcons win, and you're picking the 49ers. Okay, I don't get that. All right, hey, one more thing.